Okay, everybody, this is our last segment of Eric Worre's GoPro, 7 Steps to Becoming a Network Marketing Professional. And today we're going to cover Chapter 11, Anything Worthwhile Takes Time, and Chapter 12, It's All Worthwhile. So, excuse me. So let's get started. One thing we need to keep in mind is that if a person starts a traditional business, they expect to break even in their first few years and possibly pay back their initial investment in the first 5 years. But when a person starts a network marketing business, they expect to get their money back in the first month, make a profit in the second month, and get rich by the third month. And when that doesn't happen, they blame network marketing. That's not fair, right? That's just ridiculous to think about the double standard that is present, considering what we have available to us with the opportunity, and so very little, in the game, so very little at risk. The truth is we do have a better way, but we're not selling magic beans here. Anything of value takes time to develop. So from time to time in your life, your income might take a lucky jump. You may get lucky. However, if you don't quickly grow as a person to that new higher level, your income is going to come right back down to the level of who you really are. So you could have an explosion in your business that's an inflation that may not be relative to your particular skill set. And then you get excited, but then things could come crashing down. And he talked about a business that he was in that had a very high entry point that was something between $1,200 and $2,400. And I'll tell you that I was in one that had like a 4,000 entry level. And that's a lot of money to invest up front. But with that large investment comes a really big, kind of a coding bonus, as you will, to understand in longevity terms. But it's a really big first start or fast start bonus that you're going to get off of these people coming into the business. But then if you don't keep going, those big numbers are not going to hold. And so you need to continue to work on yourself. And he said that he had this really great month of like 12 grand. And then reality kicked in because he wasn't a $12,000 a month person. I hadn't worked on my skills. I wasn't developing myself. I was just riding the wave. And then he said by the third month, he was down to about $1,000. So that is a huge difference and very unrealistic. So that's something to keep in mind is where's your income coming from, what aspects, and how are you going to sustain it for long-term success? Because remember, we're looking for long-term residual income, right? We want to make sure that this is something that's going to last as a legacy. It may last for our retirement or to be able to, leave it for our children to create a dynasty of success. And if you're doing it through these false expectations, happening in that those very beginning things, if you're recruiting and scooting and getting people just to get those first checks, eventually you're going to get a reputation for that. It's going to wear out and you're going to lose and you're not going to be able to sustain it because people are going to feel left behind because you didn't have that relationship. So that's why 65 and a wake up is so critical. That's why the coffee shop interview is so important. Hey, Miss Emily, how you, honey bun? And so you need to be able to provide that loving support to your team so that they can have continued success throughout the course of time. Excuse me. So he goes on to say, my first reaction was to quit and blame everyone and everything for my bad check. I realized that to earn more, I needed to become more. I needed to work on my skills so I didn't have to rely on luck or time or positioning. You might have heard through the industry, and there are a lot of people that will go around quoting this. You can get rich quick in the industry. There's no work involved. Baloney. The product sells itself. Baloney. I've heard that a bunch of times. Or any number of trumped up statements. And those are false, and they give unrealistic expectations. And you need to stop doing those, stop listening to those, and go to work on you. The buck stops here. We all have to be responsible for our success in this business. And he goes on to talk about the 1357 formula. 1 year to become competent and profitable in network marketing. Okay, now, when we talk about this, it doesn't mean how many years you've been in the business. It means how many years you have actually been working the business. So you can't say, well, I've been in the business for this period of time, I should be making this much money. If you aren't working at the business to the degree that you should be, you cannot have the expectations to be earning what he's talking about, right? So then he says 1 year to become competent and profitable, 3 years of consistent part-time efforts in order to go full-time, okay? And 5 years of consistent effort to become a six-figure earner or above, and 7 years of consistent effort to become an expert. So that's a lot of effort. And I can say that I'm not there yet. I'm not at, even though I've been in the industry for over 10 years, I am not an expert. I'm still in my process of growing. And I would say that we're probably all about the same. We're all in that process somewhere along that curve. So if you want to keep making that kind of money, you need to eventually become an expert. And becoming an expert over that period of time instead of just going through the motions is how you're going to get that done. So how do you learn? So figure out what's best. What's best for you? There's so many different ways. And there are no bad experiences and no good experiences, only learning experiences. So let go of the outcome and focus on what you can learn from every single experience. Remember, the only failure that doesn't lead to success is the one that makes you stop. Okay? When Eric Worre realized this, he said it took so much pressure off of him. So focus on what you can learn from every experience. Everything will give you a chance to grow if you allow it, if you allow yourself to do it. So he began focusing on how many experiences he could have, because the more he had, the more he could learn, right? So it's that repetition is the way that we learn. So we do it over and over again. We could do it badly and still do okay. You know, it's very interesting because talking with friends at church, they'll think that they're not promoting God or the Bible in a proper way, but the truth is they could be completely messed up. But what they were speaking at that particular time was exactly what the person needed. And so if you keep that mindset that your intention is above all to do good for others and to present in a way that is glorifying God in my experience and my mindset, glorifying what it is that your intent is to do this, you can't go wrong. You know, there are times you're going to mess up and say the wrong things. You're going to make mistakes, but it's okay because it'll all come back together, and it's okay to be human. You can say, you know what, I spoke with you last time and we discussed this, and I just want to step back and come, you know, regroup with you and kind of restore the truth in that scenario. And that's okay too, because when you act like a real person who is capable of making mistakes, but willing to accept your faults and willing to step out and say, hey, you know what, I made a mistake. Can we go back through this again? Most people are very gracious about that. So you need to be mindful in that way. Excuse me. Okay, so he said, top earners are active students, and professionals are always learning, always growing, always trying to get better. And Lou Holtz said, in this world, you're either growing or you're dying. So you can choose which one it is, right? We want to model successful behavior. Avoid reinventing the wheel. I've seen this so many times in my business, in my business working with team, because they often will say, oh, I have this great idea. I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. And it's just follow the system. Do what you need to do to replicate what the successful people are doing. Find someone who's very successful. And those people you'll find are eager to share their secrets. Think about Tom and Denise and how much they open their hearts and their business to us to share and help us to grow, because they want all of us to have success. And so they do that by teaching us the way that they did it the right way. Okay. model their behavior, and you can begin to enjoy their results. There's many different ways you can do audios. We were just talking about this with Marianne. Some people like to listen to books, and it's very convenient to hear them in the car, because sometimes that's a great way to tap into your subconscious level, because you're doing something that is very rote for you. You know, have you ever been in the car and you're driving and you all of a sudden realize that you got there, but you really have no idea how you got there? Has anybody else had that experience, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe I made it safely because I have no clue how I got here. So that's kind of what happens. So if you're in the car listening to these, it's getting into you in a subconscious level. And that way you have a better way of retaining it. But again, the repetition is what helps. And you also have multiple ways of learning. Some people are audio learners. Some people are visual learners. Some people cannot absorb from books, need to see it on a screen of some sort. It depends on your type of learning. And so, of course, you can jump in any of these different facets, or any number of them can be helpful. Okay, so we can read. Audios are, and what he says, I love this. The audio whispers in your ear, reminding you of your dream, of your potential, and how to get there. It's repetitive. You probably won't read a book over and over again, although I have. You'll listen to an audio program over and over, especially if it's entertaining. Be a reader. No matter what you're trying to learn, there is someone who's devoted their entire life to the subject and is offering it to you for pennies. Take them up on that offer. And the top earning distributors are all readers. He says that he reads an average of 4 books a month. And so if you were to commit 10 pages a day, you can read a 300-page book in a month. Simple math, right? Then there's videos. And this is where I learned about Eric Worre about 7 years ago, when he started doing networkmarketingpro.com. He said, I found if I create a short video with interesting information every day, people receive tremendous value. I did then, and I still do now. And it's where I get a lot of my quips of wisdom in the industry are from those little tidbits of information that he would provide. And I just love it. It's so easy. You know, these video things are fabulous. Online tutorials, online videos, attend online webinars like this, even watch events live with streaming technology. Excuse me. And events. Oh my gosh, right? The best way to really internalize life-changing information is to attend live events, because then you're getting all of it. You're getting all of your senses pulled in, because you are in close proximity to like-minded people. You're hearing it, you're seeing it, you're feeling it. It's actually electric. When we were at GoPro in Las Vegas, even though I was very, very sick, I was just overcome with the excitement in the room. Having never experienced Tony Robbins, I've never read any of his stuff or even participated in any of his things. Seeing him there live and getting up and physically doing something. He actually had us up out of our seats for almost the entire 3 hours, and we were acting things out. All of that together is going to help you to really integrate the concepts into your mind and into your life and into your business. So that's why events are great. And he goes, goes on to say that most of his defining moments have come from events. When you eliminate all of the other distractions in life and just focus like you do at an event, you have a chance to really hear. And that's the thing too. When you go away from your daily routine and immerse yourself into something intense like a GoPro, or like a national convention or a regional convention, or even a local event, even a house event, doing something out of the ordinary is all of a sudden going to shift your focus and keep you to a point where you can learn so much more. And so that's why those in-person contacts are so important. That's why even just those coffee shop one-on-ones are important, because there are things that can be misconceived even on a telephone call, right? But if you're there in person, you can really interact with them. You can see the expression on their face. You can know what's going on and sense and feel what's happening. So, excuse me. There's another thing he also talks about. Be careful of those distractions. about what you allow into your mind, and even so into your life, right? You should be focused on a very narrow range of skills, like finding prospects, inviting, presenting, following up, closing, getting people started right, and promoting events. Master those skills before adding anything else to your to-do list, because there's a lot out there. And Tom did a video recently where he was chiding those people who were charging inordinate amounts of money for training, when there's a lot of valuable training that can happen that doesn't cost you a dime. This isn't expensive. You get the book and you come here and we talk about it and we learn. This doesn't cost anything. What Tom is doing with 65 and a Wake Up, it doesn't cost you anything. Think about those kinds of things. Even Eric Worre with his networkmarketingpro.com, you can listen to his tidbits, and then he always has an option to go buy a system that is relative to the particular topic of the day, that is much more in-depth and more personalized training, but it's not required. And I think that that gives a lot of credence to his value as a trainer, because he is not one that is constantly looking to make money on this. This is how he builds his life and his income, because he teaches others so beautifully, but he provides so much value without any expense that you can certainly benefit if you integrated it into your practice of your life and your work. That is it really truly unbelievable. So don't get caught up. There's a thing about being a lifelong student, but there's also a thing about being a professional student, and we don't want to be one of those. We don't want to be somebody who is constantly searching but never actually doing. We want to put these activities into action. And that's the next part. Take action. Almost all of the learning in MLM is in the doing. So if you want to learn how to talk to people on the phone, then talk to more people on the phone, right? It's a little simple, okay? And if you want to learn how to do a home presentation, then do more home presentations. It's okay if you mess up. You're going to be better the next time you do it. Just like 65 days in a Wake Up, you start out in day one and you're fumbling over yourself, and I can't talk to two people. I don't know who I'm going to call. I have no clue what a three-way is. And then as you start going on, you get about halfway through, and all of a sudden, you're tripping over people who are looking for what you've got, and they're talking to you and saying, hey, you said something one time about this. Could you? And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I've got all these people I have to talk to. And you understand about the three-way being, excuse me, a third-party validation, which can be product, it can be a tool, it can be an upline, cross-line, whoever line phone call with a person to help them to understand anybody or anything that's going to provide that additional information to help them make a better decision. So you should never wait for complete knowledge before taking action. The truth is, we never know it all. We're all learning through the process, but we can't stop and do all this and get out there. It's kind of like you have to be doing it together. And this is where Marianne's talking about what's kind of important is if we're going to do this workbook, we kind of have to do it with the book as we're doing it. So you're reading the book, learning the material, and then you're putting it into action as you're going through it. And so I think that that's probably something we really need to teach everyone to do. So part of the reason people avoid taking action is they're afraid they're going to be embarrassed. Oh my gosh, get over it, because everybody we're talking to is going to have to learn how to do it too. And they have to see that they can't be perfectionists. They have to see how to be real people in talking to others. And so by your being a real person, that's going to put them at ease, because they'll be like, hey, all we're doing is talking to somebody and I'm finding out what's important, what wakes them up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Is it money? Is it health? Or is it time? What is it? And so when you understand that, it takes a lot of the pressure off, that they don't have to be a walking encyclopedia, that they don't have to be the best presenter in the world. They don't have to look a certain way or be a certain way. It just will come together as being naturally them. So, excuse me, if you want to be successful in network marketing, you must learn to set that fear aside. Here's why. It's very difficult to look good and get better at the same time. So instead of being afraid of how you look as you're learning and growing, be afraid of not taking action and living a life at a fraction of your potential. That's powerful. Be afraid of how you look, how not taking action and living a life at a fraction of your potential. That's where the fear should come in. And then when he was going through his research into different companies, he was introduced to something called High Scope Educational Research Foundation, and they had a progressive and proven way to teach children how to learn more effectively. It was called Plan, Do, Review. Does that sound familiar? Right? Tom teaches us plan, do, review. He gets it from Eric. Eric gets it from the High Scope Educational Research Foundation. And what you do is you choose a skill you want to develop. It could be any skill, whether it's ice skating or golf or gardening, right? Anything you do, network marketing, anything you do, you're going to make a plan, right? Because you need a map to know where you're going. Do your plan. You need to review your results to see how you can do better next time. And he said, most people don't make a plan. They just charge out and do. So they're ignorance on fire, right? More of them never review the results to see how they could improve. All of us have shortcomings that we can work on, right? And so if we look at it and go, oh, you know what? If I had done this, maybe the outcome would have been a little bit different. It doesn't mean stop doing it. It doesn't mean go do the same thing and over again, expecting different results. That's a definition of insanity. So we want to change it so that we can do something differently and learn how to be better, right? You only learn through practice. So this connects with no good experiences and no bad experiences, only learning experiences. So again, make a plan, do your plan, review your results, good or bad, to see how you can do better next time. Make a better plan, do that better plan, review those results, good or bad, and again, without judgment. Just see them for what they are, but don't criticize yourself, and see how you can do better. Never stop applying the plan, do, review, and you'll eventually become an expert through trial and error. Fake it till you make it, right? Just keep going. Don't ever stop. Don't ever let anything stop you. Excuse me. Here's another one. Teaching is one of the best ways to learn. Teaching burns a groove in your brain like nothing else can. If you were to look at the brain has got these series of nooks and crannies, right? And so think of it as you're increasing the depth of the groove as you're learning. And so as you're doing it over and over again, it's going to instill it. It's going to like burn it into your brain, so you're going to be able to remember it more easily. It's like something you say, boy, I used to know that really, really well. And now all of a sudden, I've forgotten how to do it. But there are things like riding a bike, the old riding a bike. If you remember it, you practice it again. You may be a little clunky at first, but once you get back on there, you're going to be okay because it's still there. And then you work that groove a little bit deeper to learn a little more. Okay. So how do you teach? You find somebody to teach, right? And you could have just one person. And then as you grow, you might be able to find a few more, and you keep going and see how it goes from there. And then you have to think about who you hang around with. And Jim Rohn said, you'll become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think how they think, act how they act, talk how they talk, and earn how they earn, right? What's really hard is there's a lot of people that you may have in your life that are negative people. What's really hard is if those negative people are family members, right? And so you can't really cut your family off unless they're completely harmful, right? But you can disassociate from them in a way that's not going to be disruptive to your business, to your life, to your future, to your well-being as a person, right? And so you sometimes have to disassociate with toxic people. He actually uses the word toxic people. And when you think about that, now, if you can think about those people, when you see them, okay, you can still love them from a distance, right? but you can also still see the little skull and crossbones, like the toxicity is there, and kind of see it like up in the corner, like it's on their head or something, and go, oh, that's right, that's one of those toxic people. Yeah, I love you, but I'm not going to listen to you. In your head, don't tell them that. But, it is very much the truth. You guys are chuckling. Is there anything you have to add about toxicity in your lives that you've ever experienced? All right, Colleen, share a little bit about that.
Okay. The thing about toxic people, you really do have to kind of really focus in getting away from it. The one thing I have to laugh when everybody asks me, are you eliminating all the bad and toxics out of your life? I'm like, I'm trying, but some of them are family members. It's very difficult, but you have helped me a lot to get away from that barrier of them bringing me down, because they can be like an anchor. You got to release that anchor so you can sail so much easier.
That's beautiful.
So I do like the little toxic symbol. I'll be looking at it.
You like that? The thing is a little poison symbol right on their forehead, little skull and crossbones. Yeah. And you just notice, you go, oh, isn't that interesting? I see that.
And the thing you were saying about
what's that?
The thing you were saying about the audio, and this is something because I had a hard time comprehending books years ago. They used to give me on audio and tell me to sleep with it on. And then when I went in for tests or whatever, it would replay. It's so, that's another good way to use the audio too.
Excellent point. Thank you. And you know what? That's really fascinating. There are friends of mine when I was in college that would have music playing all the time when they were studying. And now I'm a kind of a person, I need quiet to study, because I have so much going on in my brain on any given time. Like Marianne and I are very similar, because we're like, there's so much going on. We need to kind of shut stuff off, because there's always so much happening, and shut it down and have that peace and quiet. But I had friends who had like heavy metal rock music, or there were ones that did classical music really, really loud. And during like finals, I remember people would open up their dorm windows and like scream. And where I went to college, it was like the most people in a square mile area, only compared to China. And so when we had these high rises and people opened the windows, and were screaming out the windows in the quad, and you were hearing all this, it was like, are you kidding me? And I'm the quiet person, I need that peace and quiet. I'm like, what's wrong with you people? But they needed to have that. They needed that. But yeah, that's really interesting. So yeah, so now if we need to get rid of the toxic people, think about changing your associations. So some people will keep you down permanently if you let them, right? And so he limited his associations with negative people, or people who weren't helping him grow in the direction of his dreams, okay? So spend less time with those people and more time with people who are positive influencers. And so that's what Colleen was talking about, is that as we spend more time with each other in a loving fashion, that's going to help us to be able to pursue our dreams and help to promote us and lift us up when we have those downtimes, because we all have them, then we're going to be more successful, because the difficult times are going to be more brief. There's going to be less of them, and we're going to be able to get out of them more quickly. And when you have somebody who is a positive influence, even if they're not right there at that particular time when you're going through a moment of difficulty, their information will now be embedded in your brain. And you're going to think, oh, I remember when Colleen told me this. I remember when Marianne told me this. I remember when Pamela told me this. And this is what she told me to do. And so then you're pulling in those positive resources to be able to overcome the negativity in a healthy way, in a much more smooth, effective way. Excuse me. So, okay. So he began to expand his association with people who could help him become a better person and a better professional. And if you're trying to learn to become an expert in network marketing, doesn't it make sense to find a way to spend more time with the people who have the skills you're looking for? Right? So that's what we're doing here. About every 6 months, one of the people in your 5 will change. That's just kind of the way life rolls. You want to choose wisely when you're thinking about who's going to take their place. So when you think about the people that you used to spend a majority of time with versus the people that you're spending time with now, it kind of is an interesting thing to look back on and say, oh, that's pretty cool. And then now you can look forward and say, you know what? I don't need that negativity in my life. I may care about them. They may be a family member, but I'm going to change my contact to somebody else that's going to create a greater positivity. So you want to also find someone who will push you and who will inspire you. There's a difference to being pushed, because a lot of the negative people we have push us in the wrong way, right? So we need to have people who will inspire us, to help us to push through, to be able to get beyond the difficulties and to attain that success level. And he said, it's okay to dream big, but you also have to be patient. Anything of value takes time. Continue to develop your skills, become a permanent student. Those skills will make a place for you for the rest of your life. And guess what? Top earners work hard. They at least work hard in the beginning for those several years of getting yourself together. They have a great lifestyle and they love what they do, but they work their butts off. Network marketing isn't about luck, timing, positioning, or signing that magic person who will make you rich. Freedom is possible, but it is not free. And don't we say that about our country? The freedom we have isn't free. There's a lot of loss that goes along with it. We've lost a lot of heroes, a lot of people who have, put their lives on the line for our very freedom. It will take hard work to stay consistent when the world tries to distract you. It will take hard work to learn the skills required for long-term success. It will take hard work to become the leader you were meant to be. We're all designed to be successful. It's those things that get the little guy on our shoulder, the little tapes on our heads of what somebody has said from a long time ago in our lives that are keeping us from the success that we desire. So we need to knock that guy off, punch him in the nose, as Tom tells us, and get on with our lives and listen to the healthy people. So some people in network marketing become unhappy when they realize that there's work. Most of them join for some sort of free ride. When they experience growing pains, they run for the hills, but be different. It might be hard work, but it's good work. And it's the best way, Eric Worre says, that he knows for the average person to enjoy true freedom. Chapter 12, it's all worth it. Network marketing can be challenging. It's an emotional experience. Oh my gosh, right? How many times do we cry? We laugh, right? We get mad, all these things that happen. The ups and downs can be dramatic, but in the end, for so many reasons, it is all worth it. You will not only create an income for yourself, you will create a career. If you look at any other career, there's a barrier of entry, how hard it is to get in, and a long-term benefit of what you get out of it once you do get in. There's always a ratio between that barrier of entry and long-term benefit. Network marketing has the best ratio when you compare the low barrier of entry with the high long-term return. One of the best decisions in my life was making a career out of network marketing instead of just messing around. That's Eric Worre. So in the beginning, remember, he tells us about how it was all a contest to try and get the most people on the list. He was trying to steal all the people from his dad's Rolodex, right? He was trying to get all those real estate people into the business before his dad did. And he did, but then he burnt it out, right? He lost a lot because he wasn't really acting like a professional network marketer. He was messing around. Okay, so freedom means having choices. It means living the life I want to live instead of the life other people want me to live. So I want you all to imagine your life without limits, and I want some participation here. So let's talk about, I'm going to unmute everybody for a minute. I want you to talk about, what does it mean to live a life without limits? Can you give me some examples?
I think traveling. I always want to just be able to pick up and go when I want to go. With something really cool is coming up, like, going to New York, or, I just want to be able to get up and go.
You want to ring your
I don't
bell
want
in New
anything
York.
holding me back.
I love it.
Ring my bell.
Ring my
I'm outside, so you might want to mute me because
Now I'm
cars are
singing.
going by.
Ring my bell. Okay. All
My
right. What
bell.
else? What else, girls? What else?
Mute me because I'm outside and there's lots of cars.
What's that?
I said mute me because I'm outside and there's
Oh,
cars.
I'll mute you. Okay, I got you. All right. So, what about you, other ladies? Tell me what are examples of living a life without limits?
Well, being able to just meet your own family's needs, as well as seeing the needs of others and being able to help them the way you'd like to be able to do that.
I love that.
To
So that
to
means
give.
flexibility with your income and your time.
Right.
Is that what you mean? Yeah, that's beautiful. And that is true. It's
Yes.
so many of us are living lives paycheck to paycheck, right? And so and what's the saying? There's too much month at the end of the money when we really need to have more money at the end of the month, right? So if you think about that, yeah, it would be a great way. And I can't remember his name, but there's a Christian man who lives on 10% of his earnings and donates 90% to help others. So it's, a lot of people will say that they tithe, they give 10% of what they earn to help others. And his philosophy was to do it reverse. And that was his dream. And that was actually his success level. I'll have to go look him up. But I thought that was so beautiful. If you could live on 10% and give 90% away to others, that's really incredible. Thank you for that.
Wow.
So what else?
And be involved in missions.
Mission
Well,
work.
our family has always, over the years, we've done a lot with missions, and that would be another aspect of being able to meet needs, to help with needs for mission organizations and mission oriented.
Fabulous. Yeah, I just saw, as a matter of fact, for those of us that are going on the TAC trip to Cancun this year, that their Be the Change is coming together on the Tuesday to pull together backpacks and collections of items. They've given us a list of things that are needed that we can bring, and then we can get together and fill up the backpacks to give to those needy people. So, and that's great to know that we have such a vibrant part of the Longevity family that gives back to others. Excuse me. So what else? What else is living life without limits? Melissa, do you have any?
I think living life without limits would be maybe just being able to go to all your kids' functions and not have to miss ball games or Christmas programs or whatever, their dance recitals or whatever they have going on.
Oh, I love that. That's really beautiful, Melissa. That is something that I was very, very blessed as our kids were growing up, that Andy and I made sacrifices in our careers and our lives to make sure that our kids were never latchkey, where they were never alone. We were able to go to their functions and their games, and I did a lot of volunteer work with the schools when the kids were in band program, for example, and I acted as a soccer coach, and I did all kinds of different things for the kids going through the process. I was able to homeschool them toward the end of their careers in school, and it was a lot for us to be able to manage that, but it really was a tremendous blessing. So yes, that really is. That's a living a life the way you want kind of a lifestyle. I love that, Melissa. Thank you. Yeah. Colleen, what do you have? Do you have?
I had to get away from my dogs. I want more family time where my husband's around more so we can do family things, but not just with the family I have, but I want to do foster parenting.
Ah,
That's my goal in life, is to become a foster mom
I
and
love.
hopefully adopt. So
Yes,
that's my big
beautiful.
goal.
Yeah, your heart is so big. I just imagine you on that big piece of property like a farm, and having so much space and so much ability to love on people who are in need. I know that you guys are that way with animals, and I know that you would be the same way with children. So that's beautiful. I love that about you. Thank you. So, all right. So, excuse me. Eric goes on. I'm going to mute everybody again. Hang on. Okay. And if you have something, you could raise a hand or unmute yourself or type in. But the things that he said, and think about this. Imagine your life without limits. You wake up when you're done sleeping. Oh, that to me is a dream. I love that. I love being able to wake up when I want to wake up, letting my body wake up naturally. I hate the alarm. I have never liked the alarm. I'm not a morning person. It's the Pearson in me. That's my maiden name. My dad was not a good morning person. We have very low blood pressure, very, very thin blood, I think. We just can't get moving in the morning. I have a lot of energy for the rest of the day, but in the morning, no, it really takes a lot of effort to be able to do that. I need my sleep. Imagine you're doing work that is fulfilling and makes you happy. You guys covered a lot of that. You get to work with people you enjoy, right? We get to hang out with us, people like you. It's really wonderful. You don't have to compromise all the time. You can do what you want to do without having to do those sacrifices. You work when you feel like working, but you play when you feel like playing. So if you're in Vegas and you're going through training, which is kind of like playing, but you get to do some drifting in a fancy fast car, you get to do that too, right, Marianne? Having all that kind of fun. Yep, we had a good time with that. You get to spend tons of time with the people who are important to you. Yes, we covered that. Whether that's your family, your friends, your extended family like we have here. And you're living a big life and not wasting away in a box. Oh my gosh, that is so powerful to me. Wasting away. Think about the people who have empty lives that have to go to a 9-to-5 job like it's a bad word, right? And they're just functioning. They're just functioning. That is not living. That's being a slave to your job. It's really just sad to think about that. And we have a way to create this freedom, true freedom. So when you get a picture of what freedom is all about, you'll find the price you'll need to pay to achieve it in network marketing is very low. Facing your fears and living a life that's free is easy. Spending the rest of your days living half a life is what's hard. So it may be hard to change gears and shift your mind a little bit, but when you do, you realize, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that I was living that life for all that time. So again, now we're talking about the lives we can touch. There's so many people struggling in this world. You have the ability to help people see a bigger picture for themselves, and you can give hope to the hopeless. That's one of the things that I was taught. We are hope brokers. We provide an opportunity for people. You can encourage their dreams. You can provide them with the inspiration necessary to face and overcome their fears. Not only can you help one person, but you can help hundreds of people or even thousands to live a better life. And the exciting thing is that is just the beginning. I always have said when I retired my practice that I can help more people in network marketing, in longevity, with the products we have, with the opportunity we have than I ever could with my own two hands on a table 1 hour at a time. So that's the difference, is that I can multiply, compound the interest of the people that I can help than I ever could in my practice. Excuse me. So this whole idea is like throwing a rock into a pond. When it hits the water, you're going to see that the ripples growing larger and larger until they hit every edge of the pond. And think of that visually, the expansion of the things that you will do, the lives that you can change. The butterfly flaps its wings in Japan and it rains in New York City kind of a thing. You're making major shifts, and it starts out with something small that can become so much bigger. In network marketing, sometimes you don't see all the ripples. You might be aware of the impact you had on one person's life and maybe one or two more ripples, but they keep growing whether you see them or not. That's when you get to that massive organization of people that you are helping indirectly. With network marketing, you really can make a difference. This profession gives you a chance not only to expand your group of friends, but also to be able to spend more time with them. You'll never find a more passionate group of entrepreneurs than any other profession. We love us. We're so good to have each other. You know, these people love life and spend their life lifting each other up. So true that you don't see that often in the rest of the world. And now he tells us the story of about how he met Marina when he was in Moscow for a training event. And he's saying, I'm not saying you're going to find the love of your life in MLM, but I am saying you'll find friendships that will last a lifetime. And that's absolutely true. And you'll get places to go, right? You'll win some trips like the one that's coming up for those people who qualified with Circle of Honor. There's a drawing happening on Tuesday to be able to go to New York City and ring the bell with Longevity in Times Square. Oh my gosh, that's humongous. Gets me so excited. Then you've got the Top Achievers Club, where we get to go on these great vacations and hang out with more of the people that we love because we enjoy each other. And so we're going to be going down to Cancun in February and having a good old time. I'm so excited for that. And while, like I said before, while we're there, we can do the be the change and still affect helping more people. So it just, again, dropping that pebble and seeing that ripple effect and all I can do. So you can win trips. You're going to need to support your organization as they expand into every territory or country where your company does business, and you're going to have enough money and time to go wherever you'd like. So there's many causes you can contribute to by being on those boards and being involved in charities. He became a better communicator and became a better leader and became a better salesperson. So by stepping out and growing yourself in the industry elsewhere, it's going to help you here as well. And he said he became a better sales manager. And can you imagine how many new people he met just by volunteering? His network grew tremendously. But the biggest thing that can happen was his sense of being a citizen of the world, to know, that you've helped another human being and to be able to see the results. It's an unbelievable feeling. A way to help a worthy cause. You can do it with your money because it can allow you to write those bigger checks like we talked about before than you could ever have even imagined, right? With your time, you can dedicate a portion of your life to causes that are important to you, like mission trips we were talking about. Give your time to creative thinking, raising awareness, and raising money. You can do it with your influence, inspire your organization to do something great with you, and leverage your network in the process to do great things. You are powerful, and more so because of your involvement in network marketing. Use that influence for good. It will change your life for the better. And how about the person you become in the process? Tom talks about this with us all the time, about the coffee shop interview and 65 days in a wake up. You are becoming a better you. It changed Eric Worre's life for the better because it forced him to become a better person. As a profession, we move products and services to the customers who want them, but our real purpose is much deeper than that. And it's all about personal growth. You learn to face your fears, to solve problems, to feed your mind with positives and protect your mind from negatives. Learn how to grow stronger and how to lead. And he said that when he first started out in this profession, he did almost everything out of fear. He was afraid he wouldn't succeed. He was afraid he was going to run out of prospects. He was afraid he was going to miss out on the opportunity. But over time, that fear just went away. He decided to focus on himself and his skills instead of all the things, right? Work within. Because those things outside, we can't control them. And then he said everything became clear. He learned the true secret of network marketing. The greatest benefit isn't getting what you want. The greatest benefit is what you'll need to become in order to get what you want. The journey is everything. So he wants to end the book by saying what he says at the end of every Network Marketing Pro video. Ladies and gentlemen, my wish for you is that you decide to become a network marketing professional. You decide to go pro, because it is a stone cold fact that we have a better way. Now let's go tell the world. The end. I got you all unmuted. Any questions?
Thank you so much.
They won the finals.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, they didn't? Oh, they're going to the final.
Who's going to the finals?
So, the women's volleyball, Nebraska. The women's volleyball team is going to the finals.
Oh, how very cool. Very,
the
very
game.
cool.
So we got
You're watching it now?
there. But you did an awesome job. Just really awesome. Even with your coughing, you poor little thing. But you did awesome.
This is week 4. I've had enough of this.
I know. Crazy.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to everybody that was on tonight. That was great.
Thank you. You did a great job.
Oh, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I love you all. And so remember to pick up the book. Let me show you what the book cover looks like, just so you know. Hang on one second. There we go.
It's an awesome book.
Okay. You can see it, The One Thing. Okay. So if you guys can pick it up, I would recommend that you pick up the book and the workbook. We'll probably get a lot more out of it. You probably can go through with just the book. So if cost is a factor, then just get the book. And there's also the possibility of downloading it if you wanted to, or getting an audio. But if you really want to get the most out of it, we'll have to do the workbook together and see how we can do. So, yeah. You
know what?
Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking you might have that. You might be able to download it like as a PDF, the workbook. Now that we'll have to find out, because I think there might be a One Thing website or something.
Okay, well, we'll figure that out, and then we'll let everyone know through 65 and a Wake Up, and then that way we can plan accordingly. So I will definitely do it. It's not going to be until after the first of the year, so it'll be. Oh, that was the other thing too. A lot of people had requested if we could do it earlier, and actually, Paul Croto was talking about wanting to take the 9 o'clock slot, and maybe we could swap. And people were saying even if we did the 8 o'clock,
right? They do it at
8 our time, Eastern time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted
an hour.
What's that?
We're just keeping it within the hour so people can,
Oh yeah.
go to that caller.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if we can do the Thursday at 8 o'clock, if Paul wants to swap out. I did reach out to him, and I don't know if he ever responded to me about that. I think I did it through a Facebook message, not a messenger, but like through a post. And we I don't know if he saw it or if we haven't connected, but just keep eyes and ears open. I will let you guys know as soon as I find out, but it definitely won't be until after the first of the year. So we're thinking that would be, if we keep it on Thursday, that would put us out to January 4th. Is that first Thursday in January, okay? So we'll either do the 4th or the 11th, because let's see, 1, 2, that's 3 weeks away already. My goodness, the year's gone by so fast. But let's tentatively plan on January 4th, and then we'll get with you for sure. I'll put the information about the book up on 65 and a Wake Up. I'll talk to Paul Croto, and I'll talk to Tom or Marianne. You can find out if that's an okay one, or if there's other days that might be better. It was kind of set this. Originally, I was going to do a Monday night, but that kind of interfered with some of the other graduates. But they haven't been on to do the teaching with me, so I don't necessarily know that we need to worry about that.
Yeah.
So
if you keep it on like that. So because I work,
you kind of were garbled. Say that again.
I was going to say that if we could keep it on Thursdays, I like that because I work Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And Wednesday night, I spend time with my husband. So
the Thursday if
night's good for me.
Okay, so if we were to swap it out with Paul Croto with that 8 o'clock time, we could help you and help the other people too. You guys like that idea of the 8 o'clock?
Yes. And are you going to put the information, like the link on how we can purchase the book and
Yeah, I
workbook?
think Andy bought it for me on Amazon Prime or something. I think he got it on Amazon for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll put the link up there of what I can find for the book. Yeah. Okay, gals. Well, it's a little after
All right.
10 here. So God bless
Okay.
you. Merry Christmas. Happy
Okay,
New Year. Love you all.
Love you guys.
Love you. Take care. Bye.
I'll talk to you soon.